freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your Round 3 recap pod for this week's Players' Championship. And joining me to break it all down, it's Mark Immelman. Mark, you're there. Tell the people how you took in Round 3 of the Players today.
Well, round 1 was spectacular. I was on the golf course with the Bryson, Morikawa, Dustin Johnson group, which was hilarious. Dustin was in full form, cracking jokes between shots, and Morikawa was doing his stuff, and Bryson was being Bryson. And then the last couple of days, I've been in the studio, the PGA Tour Live studio, which is always fun. And we've had some sweet groups. This morning we had Spieth, who was playing pretty solidly, and this afternoon we had Bryson and Dylan Fratelli. So good groups on offer. So I've gotten to see some really good golf.
I've enjoyed rolling out of bed, heading to the couch, a little groggy, hearing Mark Immelman's voice on PGA Tour Live. It's a nice way to wake up, Mark. I'll tell you that.
No, come on now. You can always put it on mute if you need to.
I would never do that. Listen, we're going to jump into the top of this leaderboard, but it is March. It is the month of madness, and the Eye on College Basketball podcast is here for your audio guide for the entire NCAA tournament. It's Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander offering a complete breakdown as soon as the bracket is announced on Sunday so that you can stand a chance in your pool this year. And the coverage continues with reactions after each day of games and previews of upcoming rounds. If you want the best March Madness analysis, subscribe to the Eye on College Basketball podcast anywhere you find this one. And Mark, I'm having a bit of deja vu because for the second consecutive week, Lee Westwood and Bryson DeChambeau in the final group. This time, Westy holds a 2-shot lead after carding a Saturday 68 that I would describe as very patient, Mark. He parred his first 9 holes as everyone was flying up the leaderboard, and then he worked his magic on the back 9 to come in 32 and post that 68.
Yeah, patience is a good way of describing it. I'd almost go with professional. You just comfortable with where you are, because it was a strange sort of a day because I've been working alongside Craig Perks, the 2002 Players Champion, and we both sort of surmised that, okay, Thursday or Friday, they'd let the guys have this place a little bit, although you could sort of see the golf course firming up from where it was in practice. And then we both were like, they're going to have those precision air systems on. They're going to have these greens firm. There was probably going to be a bit breezy on Saturday and going to be difficult. And today, there was no breeze. It was like target practice for a bunch of these guys, albeit fast and firm greens. And so people were just going bananas. And my eyebrows were raised, as was Craig's. And if you get out and you're playing with a lead and then you're watching people just surge up the leaderboard and fire these crazy scores, then that can get under the skin some. And what Westwood did was just so professional and just looked so comfortable because, there's some holes you can get on the front side, which he didn't. Wasn't phased at all, and he did what he had to do on the back 9. The back 9's difficult. It's not that easy. 32 is a heck of a score around there, but he got the holes that he needed to. The par 5, certainly there was a bonus pickup on 17 with that one that dove into the hole. But that's some good golf, man. And I tell you what, I'm still ruing the fact that I went with a wrong Englishman this week in one and done, because why I didn't pick Westwood after the way he played last week. And on top of that, Rick, we know he hits the ball well, but man, the way the guy's putting is just off the charts, and I hope it continues for one more day.
He only needs it one more round. He still looks a little shaky over those, anything 5 foot and in makes me a little nervous, Mark, but yeah, one more day, get away with it for one more day. And he might be hoisting a trophy on Sunday evening. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's not going to be without Bryson DeChambeau trying to chase him down 2 shots back when we start the final round on Sunday. A 67 on Saturday is Bryson's best round of the week. He only hit 10 greens in regulation. I think if you asked him, he would probably say he's leaving a lot of strokes out there. He doesn't have his A game, but here he is again, right in the thick of it for a second consecutive week.
I actually did ask him because I was with him on the course on Thursday afternoon. So I said to him, hey, yo, Bryson, don't you feel a bit hemmed in by this place? And he said, I do. And he's hit driver a few times, but he's like, I can't really open up on one. In fact, the biggest I saw him swing, and I saw it again today in feature groups coverage because we had him this afternoon again, was on 11 where he hit one like 333 or whatever it was, because 11 allows you to open up. But the rest of the time, it's the kind of golf course where it forces everyone into similar areas. And you've got to be really you've got to be strategic around here, and you've got to flight the ball well. But where his power has shown up, I think, is the fact that on a hole like number 8, because he's got these real powerful irons. And a quick anecdote to that, I'm walking down 14 fairway, and Dustin Johnston's like, "Hey man, you seen DJ? Are you watching this?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm watching it, DJ. I got to call this stuff." And he goes, "How's the wedge that he's hitting?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's like 40 degrees. So the wedge is like everyone else's 9-iron, basically, in the 8-iron. And so that's why he can hit the thing so far. But there's an advantage to this. He swings big, obviously, and hard. But with those powerful irons that he hits, a hole like number 8, the par 3, where everyone else is going with hybrids and such to a back hole location from 230 or long irons, Bryson hit 6-iron today. Granted, it came up a little short, but there's an advantage to this. And so he's been able to hit some quality iron shots. He's managed the place well. He's managed his game well. More in this golf course can get to you, and it can drive you sort of crazy, and you can feel like you're like a horse that's been muzzled a little bit, and you've got the bit in your mouth, and it's riding you some. So he's been very patient, and to me, he's gone up in my estimations. Not that I didn't have high regard for him, but the way I've watched him play, not just drive the golf ball, has been impressive. And look, he's not going to go away tomorrow. He shot a couple 69s in rounds 1 and 2. And I feel like that was probably with his sort of B game. Today he got a bit better, but the scoring was a little easier because of some of the hole locations. But tomorrow he's not going to go away. He's just putting too well. I mean, the guy's rolling it like a demon.
He really is. Our friends over at William Hill list him at 2.5 to 1 to win the Players Championship, while Lee Westwood is plus 225. So those two almost equal. They're in the final group. And Mark, since you've laid so many great eyes on Bryson this week in particular, and is this the next evolution, right? Where even a course that kind of doesn't allow him to open it up, as you put it, and he's still able to contend, he's still able to show us how well-rounded his game is, instead of us just talking about him bashing it a couple of miles every single time he tees off. Is this I find this to be much more impressive than maybe what we originally thought from Bryson as he's gone through this transformation.
You know what, your observation there makes me happy, Rick, and that the fact that you find that impressive, because most folks, and this sort of gets the old guy in me a little bit, they all like Bryson. He's hitting at 350 and 100 and whatever ball speed it is and stuff like that, 200 ball speeds. But toward the end of our show today, me, I'm sort of a bit freaky about golf, and I'm a bit of a golf nerd, and the stuff G's me up. And I take stances on things that maybe are a little opposite to what the Twitterati might take. But right at the end, after you hold that, I don't know, what was it, like 10-footer on the last for a par? And that thing was perfectly dialed. It was a difficult read up the hill, and that fell in at the last gasp with perfect pace and perfect line. I burst out, and I'm an announcer, and my fellow announcer sort of smiled at me when I did it, John Swantek, and I said to him, "Don't anybody tell me that Bryson DeChambeau is a one-trick pony." And I actually said that as my call after he knocked us in, because he's not. He is the power guy, and he'll forever be known as the powerful guy, the big, beefy Bryson sort of thing. But he's a 5-tool guy, really. And he doesn't get the respect that he deserves, I think, for his iron play. And certainly for his short game. And I would say, just like he did at the US Open, he is riding that putter to all manner of success. And on these greens, which are perfect, he is reading them right. He's rolling the ball great. And, with some of the places he's playing from, it's a tough deal for Westwood, I think, even though he's 2 ahead.
14 feet 8 inches on 18 to make par, and Bryson gave us the fist bump. He was the fist pump. He was stoked about it. That's a big momentum putt heading into Sunday. And Justin Thomas moved up the leaderboard. We saw impressive play from Doug Ghim. We're going to talk about both of those guys, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Justin Thomas with the round of the day, a 64 early on Saturday, Mark. This is kind of vintage JT. He goes out and he birdies four in a row to start his round. He gives one back at 5, and then he makes the turn and he birdies 10. he birdies 11. He actually probably should have birdied 12. Didn't he made a par there, and then he hits an absolute beauty into 16. That is a tap in eagle to complete essentially his 64, and now he is right in the thick of it and clearly feeling much better about his game than he has over the past couple of months.
Yeah, well, you got to commend him, and in a similar ilk, you can sort of commend John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, because through the first couple of rounds, they didn't really have their stuff. You come to a golf course, and yeah, you might be bringing in some good form like Bryson, and John Rahm's been here and there, and Justin hasn't been at his best, but they sort of survived through the first 2 rounds. They kept themselves in it, and Justin Thomas scrapped out 71 on day 1. He sort of climbed up the leaderboard a little bit more on day 2, but there wasn't really anything special. And then today, he did what, great major champions, big time golfers do. Come the weekend, they start showing up. They line up in the stalls and they're ready to run. And that round that he played today, I'll be honest, I didn't see much, but I saw enough of the highlights to see a guy that was playing from the right places, a guy that was hitting the ball with the irons the right distance, which is the big deal around here for me. And he's just confident enough now, it appears, to be able to challenge shots. Like that tee shot he hit down 18. If someone's fighting their golf swing a little bit, you don't set out a curling draw around the dog leg over there, because you'll be afraid of missing the thing hard left. And Justin goes to a fade when he's challenged and when he's a little antsy with the golf swing, or whether the pressure's up. He stood up there and hit this roping draw around the corner there, flighted. And I was like, well, guess who's back? Guess who's got his groove going on? And so from that point of view, I just commend him and Rahm and company for just doing what you do in a 72-hole event. You hang around, you keep yourself in the game, you scrap, you claw, and you do your thing. And then all of a sudden you wait for that moment. And his moment was today. I'm just keen to see if he can build on it further tomorrow.
Justin Thomas entered the day 7 shots back, the largest 36-hole comeback by a winner at TPC Sawgrass. 7 shots. It was Tim Clark in 2010. If you think that Justin Thomas can do the same, he's 4.5 to 1 over at William Hill. And Doug Ghim will be playing with Justin Thomas on Sunday. I love Doug Ghim so much. I mean, not only has he just been phenomenal from tee to green this week, but I think back to, I think it was the Korn Ferry Tour Finals in 2019, where he's got like an 8-footer for his tour card, pours it in the middle. The guy's got all the emotion. Now here he is on the big tour trying to make some noise at one of the largest events that we have.
Well, cometh the moment, cometh the man, I guess. And he's proved it that he could do it on the Korn Ferry Tour. Well, tomorrow is for all the marbles, and it's in one of the biggest events in the world. So we'll get a measure of who Doug Ghim really is. But he's proved so far in college and into college and beyond, in the mini tours and the Korn Ferry Tour and now the PGA Tour, he sort of proved his worth. But it's a whole different league tomorrow afternoon, man. This is big time now, and it's a big time golf course. So I haven't seen enough of him to play. I know he's very accurate. I know he can really putt, and those are 2 things required around here. And the one thing about the TPC Sawgrass, the stadium course, it's spit out a few unlikely winners, like Tim Clark, like Fred Funk. Guys that don't hit the ball very far but really can putt, and they keep the ball in play, and that's his MO. So if he can stay in the mix and maybe have a flourish at the end, who knows? He might be a player's champion.
He's 20 to 1 over at William Hill. And he mentioned one last thing on Doug Ghim here, Mark. He mentioned in his post-round interview that he has nothing to lose. And that has been his mindset all week long. Now, that it is one thing to say that. It is another thing to believe that, right? I don't know if these guys, they know how much is on the line here, but Doug Ghim is going to try to enter Sunday with a nothing to lose attitude.
Well, look, here's the thing. You can tell everyone that, to your point. But the thing is, he's probably not going to sleep real easy tonight, I wouldn't think. Although this place is a tough walk and it's demanding. And I made the comment on our show. I think I was talking about whoever was playing. It might have been Charlie Hoffman alongside Bryson or someone. I'm like, when you get home to the hotel or the house, whatever you're renting, you've done your media commitments, so that's behind you. And you get back to the house. And not only are you physically tired, but this golf course just has you mentally and emotionally spent. So you grab some dinner, and then you're trying to rest because you're just exhausted. And now you're 3 days deep in the event and practice rounds, but then your mind is spinning. and you're thinking about stuff that went down today and putts that were made and putts that were missed and emotions that you went through. And then all of a sudden, the mind wanders both directions, forward and backwards. And then if you're Doug Gehman, if you're Lee Westwood, heck, if you're anyone in the field, Bryson DeChambeau, even these massively experienced guys, your mind wanders to tomorrow. And so you're exhausted and you want to sleep, but then your brain's going. So I'm keen to see if he rests well this evening. And then tomorrow you can say what you like. I mean, your heart's going to be going. The sphincter is going to be tightening, all that sort of stuff. And the problem with this golf course is it exposes you if you're slightly off. And so the challenge for Gim, the challenge for everyone is to be, with the heart racing and with your mind wandering, you've got to get singular about your focus. And then you've got to get out there and pick a smart target and try and swing as freely as possible. When you start swinging defensively around this place and you're playing almost away from problems is when it also bites you. So it's going to be a big day for him tomorrow. And if nothing else, look, I hope for his sake he wins, but if nothing else, it's going to be a heck of a learning curve. And he'll come out of here feeling like he's a superhero.
On Friday night, we lamented all of the big names that failed to make the cut, but I'm looking at a leaderboard that has Lee Westwood, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Paul Casey, John Rahm, Sergio Garcia, Matthew Fitzpatrick. I think we are set for a great Sunday of golf. Mark, where can we find you for the final round of the Players' Championship?
I'm going to be on the course tomorrow for DirecTV and for PGA Tour Live. I'm not sure who the group will be in the afternoon. So I'll be out there in the thick of it. I'll probably have like the fourth or fifth to last group, whoever's the most entertaining for the folks on the streaming service. So I'll be out there. I'll get some of the experience and the noise and the crowds and just I wouldn't call it the ambiance because it's electric out there. And so I'll be, when you guys see me tomorrow on the show, I'll be coming down from what's going to be a real exciting day.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it, and we know you're going to have a blast tomorrow. That's Mark Immelman. You can find him at Mark_Immelman. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.